Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. Now, to get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a YouTube message. So the first question for today comes from Bob Joe, and it is, what do you think of vehicles getting flat tires when you shoot at them, which could only be fixed by repairing them? I love this idea. I've always been kind of an advocate of having more dynamic vehicle combat where you shoot at a vehicle matters. And I realize that's kind of already the case in Battlefield 4 because if you shoot at the backside of a tank, it's gonna do more damage. But just think if they kind of push that a step further. And the idea I have is, well, what if you shoot at the treads of a tank? What if that had a higher percentage of disabling the vehicle so it couldn't move around as quickly? Maybe if you shoot at the same side of a tank over and over and over again in the same section, it weakens the armor of the tank, so now it's taking more damage. So even though that they're repairing, the vehicle itself, if you keep hitting that one side or that one spot, eventually it's going to do more and more damage. Like, the possibilities are endless, and of course they would have to go in and balance things out, but I would love if they had some sort of system like that in place. It would make tank combat a little bit more complex. You'd kind of have to think more about the combat and the situation that you're in, but I honestly think that would kind of be a good thing, because if you're playing as an infantry, all that kind of goes into it is if you see a tank is, well, can I flank them? No, well, let's just kind of shoot RPGs until they die. And that's about all the thought process that goes into it. And if you were in a situation where you saw a tank, instead of just trying to blatantly go for them and go for the flank, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to make the decision to try to disable it. That will allow me and my friends to maybe get behind to do more damage, or let's all hit it in this one spot to get the full or do more damage eventually. Like, I just think the possibilities are endless. And so that, yes, I know I'm kind of taking your flat tires scenario a little bit further, but I would love if that was kind of a part of Battlefield, or really in any first-person shooter with vehicle-based combat. The next question comes from Diamond Gear, and it is, what are your thoughts on having a small EMP grenade that would destroy/disable enemy equipment, Claymore, C4, SOFLAMs, etc.? So this question pops up all the time. I've seen it a lot recently. And honestly, I don't think this is necessary, and I don't know how it would really apply to the gameplay or enhance the gameplay. Because right now, there are a lot of grenades. You got the mini, you got the impact, frag, and they could all be used to destroy everything that you just mentioned. And so I don't see why having an EMP grenade would benefit or be any more helpful. I mean, maybe if it had a much larger blast radius to it and it knocked out things within like a 30-meter radius, then yeah, I could definitely see people wanting to use that. But honestly, there already are a ridiculous amount of things to take those things out. You have your weapon itself, you have your knife, you can pick up some of them, you can use your grenades to take them out. So yeah, I guess it's cool in concept. I know a lot of people are kind of wanting them, but if you kind of think about it, at least the angle that I am, I honestly just do not think that it's needed. The next question is, I played a game recently and got kicked by an admin just because I killed him too much. Maybe DICE should put in a blacklist for servers and incidents like this could be prevented. What are your thoughts? I feel your pain on this. It gets very annoying when you join a server, especially with your bunch of friends, and you get kicked and then everyone has to leave to find another server simply because that admin just abused his power and got annoyed. Or maybe he was just having a bad day. Like, that's definitely possible. But it does get frustrating. The thing you have to remember though is that if you are joining a server or an admin is doing this often, that server isn't gonna last very long. If this happens frequently and he's abusing his power, people are gonna catch on and they aren't gonna favorite that server. They're just simply not gonna come back to it. And so it's gonna become a ghost town after a couple of weeks of that happening. And so while I'm not completely opposed to the idea of having a blacklist system in place, or better yet, a ranking system, if you could rank servers and the higher rated servers would kind of filter to the top, I would love that. I think that would be kind of a nice addition to the game. It's not necessarily needed simply because the community itself kind of speaks out against these type of admins. Like, if you abuse your power, people are not going to come back, and so eventually no one's going to join those servers. Those admins are going to be wasting their money and they're going to shut it down. And the good servers, the ones that have admins that respect the players and don't just get mad and kick people, those are the ones that are going to be successful, and those are the ones that are going to fill up with lots of players. The next question is, what if hand flares became lockable targets for javelins and straw? straws. I think it will definitely make them more viable. I don't know what I think about that, because yes, the flares right now don't serve any function, but if the javelins and the straws could lock onto it, I'm trying to think of the possibilities on how that would affect the gameplay, because I'm assuming what you mean is if you see maybe a couple of enemies just around the corner, like if you're playing, like, let's say on Operation Locker, you know that they're just around the edge, you throw your hand flare over there, then you start to lock on with it with the javelin or the straw, it flies up in the air, you know, kind of lands, and then acts more as a mortar. And I guess that would be kind of cool. It would be a pretty humiliating way at taking out your enemy, but at the same time, that seems like a lot of steps to just kill someone, where if you just use like grenades or if you use the mortar itself to take them out, that seems like a much easier way to go about it. But maybe that is the one way just to make the hand flares a little bit better, because other than that scenario, I can't think of any other type of combat situation where that would be even remotely useful. Like maybe if you just kind of throw this randomly around an objective and you know that the enemy is about to take the objective, then you can lock onto the hand flare and then take anyone out that's nearby. But the straw and the javelin don't have like a massive blast radius by any means. Like it's a nice radius, but mainly you have to hit the enemy directly, at least with the straw. I don't use the javelin all that much, and because you have to lock onto tanks, like I don't know how effective it would be against infantry, but at least for the straw, like you need to hit them directly with it. And so I guess maybe doing some splash damage would be somewhat useful, and then you can kind of go in and clear them out with your normal weapon. But other than that, and what I just described, I just don't know if this would be all that useful. It could be a fun and humiliating way of taking out your enemy. It would be very humiliating to kill an infantry unit with a javelin, but I just don't know if this is the direction that DICE is going to take. But that is it for today's Sunday Mailbox, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, if you would like to submit your own question that can be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a YouTube message. But until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.